So I have drank soda. I gave up Cokes and anything carbonated like that. I just gave it up back around 2000 or so when I discovered Crystal Light. I never did like diet sodas. The chemical aftertaste always got to me. So I always drank the real stuff, but I did give it up and never regretted giving it up back around 2000 when I discovered Crystal Light. I have tried sodas just to try them to see how I was going to react to them, how the carbonation was going to fill me up, because I was curious. Like, I keep seeing all these questions about people who say their doctors are telling them never have carbonated stuff again. And occasionally I drink a beer, but the one thing I do is I pour it in a glass, or more specifically I pour it over ice, and that releases some of the carbonation, and I sip it really, really slow. I don't drink enough of it to have a mental calculation of how much I can drink at one whack before I'm over full. So, but I had never had any negative reactions to carbonated beverages, except they seem to fill me up really quick because of the bubbles. So be prepared to do an emergency burp if you have to, if you drink a little bit too much carbonation. Popcorn, I waited till about 6 months before I tried popcorn again. I really just wanted to be super, super safe. Even though I was released to full foods at the end of 30 days, popcorn for me is an empty calorie food. So, and I wasn't able to hold but, like I said earlier, a half a cup of food per meal, and I was trying to stick to 800 to 1,000 calories a day, and I wanted to get as much vitamins and nutrition as I could out of every bite of my food. I really was committed to weight loss and eating healthy foods. So after 6 months, I had a little more room in my stomach. I did try popcorn again. Again, had no reactions to the popcorn. It was kind of leading me back to eating stuff I didn't need to eat. For a long time, I guess every day for like 2 weeks, I'd have a bag of popcorn, a 100-calorie pack. I discovered 100-calorie packs of microwave popcorn from Orville Redenbacher. And so I was eating a 100-calorie pack every night. But again, it's one of the things where either the salt in the popcorn or the extra calories from the carbohydrates from the popcorn may have stalled my weight loss. So I realized that my weight loss had stopped going down and I was plateauing. So I cut popcorn out of my life and went back to my original really high protein lean meat, and either eating lentils like chickpeas, lentils themselves, green lentils, red lentils, black beans, or not really even refried. I didn't really go back to eating refried beans because I'd eaten them for so many months in a row. Those first, well, say month 2, 3, 4, and 5, I ate that so much because that's all I could tolerate that I just got burned out on it. So that was one of my little lessons. The hardest things I had to readjust to, as far as food goes, any kind of chicken. Dark meat chicken seems to be easier on my stomach, but in the beginning, any kind of chicken was terrible. Eggs were really hard to digest. They would cause me cramping. I don't really drink milk as a habit, but I did try some milk here and there when it was available at work or something, just to test a new food. Milk was really tough to adjust to. Fibrous vegetables like summer squash, cauliflower, broccoli. Those are the big three that I ate and still eat a lot of. But I thought it was kind of ironic that the good stuff like that was the hardest to digest in the beginning. It was just so tough on my sleeve. Even stuff like apples. In the first 6 months, apples were really, really tough to digest. Grape skins. Oh man, grape skins. I love grapes. And I'd eat one grape and I'd just have to stop. It was so hard on my sleeve. I would eat we get these party trays at work with all the different kinds of fruits on it. And, I'd want a piece of fruit instead of eating the cookies they had on the tray. I'd make the decision to eat a piece of fruit instead. I was tempted to eat the cookies, but I was like, I'll get the fruit platter instead. That'll be sweet. It'll satisfy me. I love raw pineapple, but one little 1/2 inch by 3/4 inch chunk of pineapple. Oh man, that Frankensleeve. Oh, He hated pineapple with a passion, and I love pineapple. But that pineapple is so tough and fibrous and dense. It was literally, it was 9 months to a year before I could comfortably eat more than one piece of pineapple. But now pineapple's fine. Any kind of fruit really is fine. Any type of vegetable is fine. Don't really have any kind of negative reactions to any foods that other than the taco sauce that I told you about. I hate repeating all this stuff over and over again. I'm kind of rambling. Hopefully you're patient with me and can glean some of the highlights of this. I tend to repeat things again and again because that's how I learn things, is hearing them multiple times. Still, one of the toughest, most filling foods is hamburger meat. Because I guess it's because hamburger meat contains, all the scrap meat, it contains scrap skin or cartilage, just the tough fibrous parts of the meat that are left over after they trim off of the high-end pieces of meat. Moving on to other things like dating, libido. Man, I had read many accounts on the forums about men's libidos increasing. Tell you what, they weren't lying. I mean, after the third or fourth month, just looking at a picture of a girl would set me off like crazy. It's like, where the hell did that come from? So it was pretty amazing. My sex drive went from being intermittent to almost non-existent to I don't even have to think about women, and it just pops in my head. So if you have a wife or a girlfriend and your sex life is lagging after you lose some of the weight, it may not be lagging anymore. Hopefully they'll be willing to keep up with you. Dating, I've always felt uncomfortable dating. I never felt like, who would want somebody who is so fat and out of control? But I've always had a habit of going on online dating sites, to try to find somebody anyway, even though it's one of those fantasies. I've been alone and living alone since I was 18 years old, 28 years ago. But always had that fantasy of finding that one person to find my other half and be with them forever. Once I got down to what I felt was a more comfortable weight, I started getting more responses from the ladies that I was contacting. But I hadn't had dates in so long. My first reaction was, holy shit, they responded. Now what do I do? I finally got one to respond. What do I do now? I don't know what to do now. I don't know how to talk to them. Don't know how to. So that was a lot of research on the web trying to figure out what do you ask somebody to keep the conversation going. So I had to. I'm like I said, I'm a research junkie, so I found a list of questions to ask the other person. And again, one of the things you don't think about when you've been chasing a dream for so long is what happens when you reach your dream. You find somebody, and then you don't know how to talk to them. You don't know where to take, what the process is for moving beyond online chatting. Do you talk to them on the phone? I'm not a big talker on the phone. I probably don't make but 1 or 2 phone calls a week to a friend of mine, and that's just to say, hey, you ready to go out to eat? He goes, yeah, where do you want to go? I say, okay, we're going to go here. Less than 5 minutes and I'm off the phone. Being an IT person, I work alone. I'm alone on my job. I stay in my cubicle other than going out working on people's computers, so I don't have a lot of socializing at work. Don't have a lot of socializing at home. Don't really talk about day-to-day things. Most every other person I will work around or live around don't have the same interests in computers and technology and YouTube videos and the Game of Thrones and the Big Bang Theory and all those kinds of things. Being Southeast Texas, my neighbors, their life revolves around their wife, their kids, going to work, going hunting, and going fishing. That's the main priorities in their lives. So we don't have a whole lot in common, so it's hard to talk to them. So once you get past the talking stage and you meet somebody, then I start worrying about, well, what if this doesn't work out? What if I don't like the person? What if we don't click? What if, how do you break it off without hurting their feelings? And I'm a big people pleaser. I don't like conflict. I like to make people happy. So telling somebody that I don't think it's going to work out is something I'm still agonizing over. And worst of all, what if I do click with them? Now what do? I found somebody who likes me, I like them, and I know how to live the way I'm living now. How do I accommodate them in my life, you know? How do I take into account what they want, you know? Then you get them down to expenses, you know? I'm not used to spending a whole lot of money every week going out. And the last time I went out just to go pick the lady up, go eat a hamburger, and go to the movies, it was $100. The other thing that comes into play is my parents are aging, and if I get into a relationship with somebody, you know, and I start a life with them, what happens when my parents need help? They're not in any bad shape right now, but my dad's 80, my mom is 78. I don't know at what point, you know, they're going to need help taking care of themselves, and I really can't see putting either one of them into a nursing facility. So, you know, I kind of expect to have to move closer to the house, or even I might even have to move in with one of them. If one of the other dies, I may have to move in to help the other one get along for as long as I can, until it just becomes to the point where, you know, they need professional nursing assistance to get by day to day. That's my little spiel about dating and libido and relationships and all my crazy thoughts. Moving on to exercise. I've never been an exercise person. I don't like to exercise. The only thing I've been able to consistently do and stick with has been walking. Tried, you know, in the beginning, walking was very difficult. My feet hurt a lot, so I couldn't go very far, but I did work my way up to walking 5 miles a day for a long time. Then I switched over to walking with a weighted vest, and worked my way up to walking 3.25 miles with 25 pounds of weight in the vest. Then the heat of summer came to Texas, and I was getting heat exhaustion and really getting overheated to the point where I was almost throwing up, so I had to quit using the vest. So to make it through summer, we switched from walking with a vest to trying to speed walk. That made a bit of a difference, and I made it through the summertime. And we just kind of stuck with speed walking now. We're at one point we were up to as high as 3.9 miles an hour for an average of 3.25 miles. We were trying to break 4 miles an hour. I really wanted to get to a 15-minute mile, but around October, November, my friend started having ankle problems, and then we had to quit walking for about 3 weeks, and because I didn't want to walk on my own. After that, I started having sinus problems, and the cold weather and lots of rainy, cold weather in Texas in November and December. So basically, I haven't walked at all since November. But I've been able to keep my weight down without the exercise. So I don't know if I'll ever go back to walking again or not. Setting new goals, as I had went over before, I reached my surgeon's first goal of getting down to 235. That took a year, maybe a year and a couple months. After I reached 235, I said, well, shoot, 235, I'm not happy where I am. Let's see if I can do better. I shot for 225, got down to 225, said, I made it to this far. Wonder if what I look like when I'm 215. Went down to 215 and got to 215. It's like, well, I really always wanted to see what it was like to be 199, below 200. And that's what I'm shooting for now. I've gotten down to 204 and 0.8, and I've consistently been able to get back down there and stay around the 205 range. And since all the holidays are gone, I think I'm going to shoot again for 199 just to see how I look and how I feel. Based on the body mass weight charts I found online, I should be, for my height and age, I should be at 185. I don't know if I'll look bad at 185. I don't know if I'll look bad at 199. So